Well, Tracy, for me, the first thing is I always like to say I'm just an ordinary guy, but someone who's got a calling. God gives us all a calling.
Right.
And my calling is to help people become more of who they could be. But the specialist field, the toolbox that we work from, in order to help people become more of who they could be, is to look at the latest research on how the human mind works.
Okay.
So we specialize in the neuroscience of learning, and we use that information to help people optimize their brain performance and improve their learning, thinking, and creative abilities.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So your company's name is Neuro-link.
Absolutely. So Neuro-link is, we specialize in people development, but we do a lot of work in the corporate world, working
Okay.
with adults, spending time on doing things like leadership development, developing emotionally intelligent
Sure.
leaders, performance improvement, potential development, stress management.
Okay.
We have many accredited programs with health professionals
Sure.
council in South
Okay.
Africa, where practitioners like doctors and psychologists can do workshops through us and get
Okay.
accredited for that. But then in the educational world, we do a lot of work developing teachers,
Yes.
developing
Yes.
learners, but
Right.
then also assisting parents in helping their children to optimize their potential. So we
Sure.
empower them to help their children. But
Wow.
people development, in a nutshell, is what Neuro-link does.
That is absolutely beautiful. I know that just by looking at your website, if you want to go check out Dr. Andre's website at Neurolink, it's really very informative. But one of the questions that, or one of the statements that was made on your website is, what makes Neurolink different? So I know that there are a variety of places, there are a variety of companies that might offer something similar to what Neurolink does. What makes your company different?
Tracy, we are learning specialists. So in the educational world, we specialize in assessing how people learn and think, and then also evaluating the drivers that influence brain performance. And then once we've evaluated that through our assessments, we have interventions that we run to optimize performance. To give you an example, you may sometimes have a child with a very high IQ,
Yes.
but they turn around a B and a D.
Okay.
Or you have children ending up in special class, but they're actually very gifted children,
Right.
and you may wonder now, how is this possible?
What went wrong?
What went wrong?
Yes.
And it's, very often it is a question of the child perhaps not utilizing both sides of the brain
Okay.
simultaneously. The good news is a lot can be done to empower that child
Yes,
to
yes.
utilize both sides of the brain. So you've got to first assess and see what is it that is a hindrance to this child.
Okay.
And all we need to do is to then remove that hindrance and empower them with appropriate skills.
Okay.
But, there are many drivers that optimize performance. So if we look at it, it can be brain fitness. But
Yes.
it can also be a learner's attitude. It can be their diet.
Right.
It can be the physical environment in
Okay.
which learners learn and think. For instance, if, in a classroom situation, if there's no aircon, their
Yes.
concentration goes down
Yes,
because the
yes.
brain learns under conditions, much better under conditions of being
Correct.
cooler rather than being warmer.
Okay.
When
right.
when I study, the colors the human mind respond to the worst are white, black, and grey.
Wow.
But I mean,
look
just
at textbooks.
look
Art
at textbooks.
not just that.
Exactly. Now,
Sure.
if we look at fluorescent lighting, reflecting on white paper into the learner's eye, it will cause a lot of learning and visual fatigue. So
Wow.
we may have all that technology can
Yes.
offer, but sometimes that in itself may not be, it may not be an environment that is conducive for learning for the child.
That is incredible.
Then we look at, for instance, learning skills. The average Japanese reader reads 650 words a minute.
Right.
The average South African tertiary skilled reader reads 250 words a minute. So
You're serious?
this is the information era. Information is exploding.
Yes.
So the guy who's got great reading skills, who can cover volumes of information,
What
is
an
just
edge.
going to be so more competitive.
Yes.
So just that one learning skill that you need can make you so much more competitive.
Wow.
So lack of skills not being brain fit,
Yes.
the wrong attitude towards learning, an environment that's not conducive for learning. All these things negatively impact the learner's
Sure.
ability to learn. So here we have this child with all this unlimited potential,
Right.
yet their performance may not reflect that.
Yes.
And that's the business that we are in, is to first do an assessment and see how can we look at how this learner learns, and then what can we do to optimize that. So
Brilliant.
in a nutshell, we identify about 6 drivers that optimize performance,
Okay.
and then also look at 7 different neurological learning styles.
Sure.
But if you look at the whole big picture, you will know exactly where to go to assist that child to optimize their performance.
Sure.
And then when it goes to adults in the corporate world and
Right.
with parents, we use similar tools, but just on their level, for them to create more awareness about
Okay.
themselves
Okay.
and what makes them tick.
Right.
But then also for them to say, what can I do to still optimize my performance? And then obviously Neuro-link specializes in many areas where we do emotional intelligence development,
Yes.
mental wellness, leadership development. But the angle that we come in from is the neuroscience of learning. So if we offer an emotional intelligence development program, it's always from a brain-based perspective.
Okay.
So it's never from a different perspective
Yes.
than that. And I
Yes.
think what makes Neuro-link very competitive is the fact that we have a very scientific approach towards learning.
Okay.
And in the business world, if you evaluate in terms of behavior change and results that our training programs
Yes.
offer, we have almost 3 times
Wow.
better results with our learning results than some of our competitors. But we believe because it is the neuroscience of learning
Yes,
that
yes.
that is our competitive advantage. So Neuro-link is a unique company with a unique specialist field,
Yes.
having unique products, but then that gives us very profound results.
Incredible results.
Yeah.
Well, Andrea, I mean, that is just such a incredible or mouthful of information already, and I can just hear your passion. And I think, what I really believe about anything is that if you look at the person who leads a company, and if their heart is passionate about what they do, that in itself is a recipe for success. So I think when I look at you, I see a passionate man.
Absolutely.
I see a man who's not just very knowledgeable at what he does, but you are passionate about the calling that God has put on your life to develop people. And I believe that is one of your successes.
You know what? They say if you discover your passion in life, you'll never work another day.
Sure.
So I stopped working about 23 years ago.
Wow.
And I think I work harder than ever in my life.
Yes.
But I have to say that none of this has ever been a drag.
Wonderful.
God has ignited a passion and a fire in my
Yes.
heart for this work. Some people get passionate about juggling the numbers in a business,
Yes.
or growing businesses, or being business entrepreneurs. I get passionate about people. But I guess that is why Neuro-link has been growing and expanding, because I have the privilege of having quite a few of our colleagues who are like-minded.
Right.
So for us, it is not a job.
Such a key.
It is who we are. It's what we do. And also our passion. This work that we do has transformed me
Right.
as an individual tremendously. And therefore, I cannot contain myself to share the good news with
Yes.
other people. If this
That's
is what it's
awesome.
done for
You've
me.
got the answer.
God is always the answer, but He has
Absolutely.
given us many tools
Yes.
that helped us become more of who we could be.
Right,
And God has liberated me from being this person who had many limited beliefs about myself, that I can't work with
Right,
people,
right.
can't talk to people, maybe I'm not good enough, to serving Him with a passion,
Sure.
and I am good enough. So how
Absolutely.
can you not be excited
And how
about
can we not
that?
share that?